Welcome to the Town of Arlington Redevelopment Board meeting on March 30th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Ken Lau. I am the ARB Chair. Can the other members of the board please introduce themselves?
Steve Revelak.
Hi, Vincent Baudouin.
Shayna Corman, Houston.
Rachel will be here in a few minutes. She's in a conference call, and she'll join us when she's off the conference call. We're also joined by Claire Richter and Susan Suarez, right?
Yeah, Claire Ricker and Sarah Suarez.
Suarez, sorry. Okay. Our first agenda is a review of the meeting minutes from March 23rd of 2026. Do any of the board members have changes to the minutes, starting with Steve?
No changes.
Vince?
Nothing from me.
Shannon?
No changes.
And we'll get back to Rachel, and I have no changes. Should I just move the...
You could probably approve with 4 votes.
Okay.
The meeting minutes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes from March 23rd.
Second?
Steve?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Shana?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. Okay. Second on the agenda is a request from Department of Public Plan and Community Development to confirm a new member of the Envision Arlington Standing Committee to fill the seat for the committee. Claire, can you introduce who's been nominated for the seat?
Sure, absolutely. As the board is likely aware, there are 2 seats on the Envision Standing Committee that are appointed by the Department of Planning and Community Development with confirmation by the Redevelopment Board. And we were, members of the Envision Standing Committee forwarded on a letter of interest, an email of interest from Amara Raymond, who is here with us this evening. I asked for a cover letter and a resume and was very, very impressed with what I received. I wrote a memo related to her experience and her interest in the seat, and she is here with us this evening also to introduce herself to the board. If you'd like to come up and you can sit over here by the microphone, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for volunteering and helping. Could you introduce yourself a little bit, and then I'll turn it back to the board for any questions.
Sure. Happy to be here. Hello, members of the Redevelopment Board. My name is Amara Rahman, and I was born and raised in Arlington, Massachusetts. I grew up in the public housing in East Arlington and attended the Old Thompson, Addison, and also I'm a proud Spy Ponder. My first job was at ZA on Mass Ave, and during COVID, I taught English at the Arlington Life and Skills Centers to recently immigrated residents. Our town has been a significant part of my life. Our town has also afforded me the opportunity to attend college in DC through generous scholarships and grants provided by the town. My time in DC sparked my interest in civic engagement and my desire to work in government. I've worked for the Mayor of Cambridge in the past, and now I'm at the Executive Office of Workforce and Labor for the state. And I'm excited to be here and hopefully become a member of Envision Arlington to engage with community members around pressing issues in our town. I welcome any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Steve, do you have any questions?
I appreciate your work in teaching English to the residents of the Housing Authority. I live across the street from Monotony Manor, so I'm
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm there's a very rich and diverse crowd of people who live in that area, and I also appreciate your desire to help bring their perspectives to Envision Arlington's process. So thank you.
Thank you.
Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Amari. Thank you for stepping up and dedicating your time and energy to this, and I appreciate you committing yourself to the town like this.
Shanna?
Amara, thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate it. I saw that you're an AU grad, yep. So good to see another AU grad here in
awesome.
Arlington.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for helping volunteer, and I welcome fresh new energy and ideas. And I think you're a perfect candidate for it, so I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to nominate?
Mr. Chair, I will move that we nominate Amara Rehrman. I got that? Okay. As one of the board's appointees to the Envision Arlington Standing Committee.
Thank you, Steve. Do I have a second?
Second,
Steve?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Shana?
yes.
I'm a yes. Thank you very much, and welcome to the
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. That's great.
Next on the agenda is to request appointing a new member to the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Action Plan Committee. Claire, can you introduce who's been nominated?
Sure. This is a nomination to the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Action Plan Implementation Committee, which is one of the longest committee names, I think, that we have that is served by DPCD. We're requesting that the board appoint Mr. Steve McKenna to that committee. He is a longtime Arlington resident and a leader in real estate. We've attached a memo with his bio. He's currently the senior team leader, a broker associate, licensed real estate advisor and specialist at Steve McKenna and the Home Advantage team. Mr. McKenna's legacy extends far beyond Arlington, as he holds the esteemed title as one of Greater Boston's leading realtors since 1991, with over 35 years of unparalleled experience in the real estate domain. Steve is very dedicated to the town of Arlington and is interested in participating in this committee, I think, specifically so that he can work on the Arlington Heights Business District project. And I know that he's enthusiastically supported by the board chair, and he is not here this evening, unfortunately, to answer any questions, but I think, the board, I would recommend the board proceed, and hopefully we'll confirm Mr. McKenna to the committee.
I would also hope we can recommend him too. I highly recommend him myself. But do you have any questions, Steve?
No, I think I know Mr. McKenna. He presented before us just a couple of weeks ago. He has a long history of real estate experience, and I think that could be beneficial in shaping what the Arlington Heights Business District looks like. And I think his knowledge about, what kind of spaces, what businesses are looking at Arlington, and what kind of spaces they're interested in could be valuable.
Thank you. Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I forgot to say with the previous nominee that I appreciated the additional information on the memo. Claire, it was helpful to hear a little bit about the candidate's background and motivation, and I support Mr. McKenna's nomination.
Shannon?
Yeah, I have no questions. I also support Mr. McKenna's nomination.
Do I have a motion, please?
So, Mr. Chair, I move that the board nominates Steve McKenna for our position on the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Action Plan Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Steve?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. So Steve is on the board.
Great.
Great. Our next agenda on the item is public hearing docket 3879, 26 Dudley Street. This is a special permit hearing continued from February 9th. The applicant requests the hearing to be continued to June 1st. Do we have any comments from the board? No?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Sure.
staff has a few comments related to this project. This is a project that is undergoing permit review in front of the Conservation Committee. as well, the Conservation Commission, as well as the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is a very interesting project with a lot of complicated issues surrounding the property, which is why the applicant has requested a continuance while they are seeking permits from those two other committees, the Conservation Commission and the Board of Appeals, as I mentioned. They are looking forward to coming in front of the Redevelopment Board, but clearly have some items to resolve before they get here.
Thank you, Claire. Steve?
Nothing here.
Vince?
No comments?
Shanna?
Nothing.
I make one request, is that when they do come forward to our hearing, that they already met with the Conservation Committee and got approval. They met with the Variance Board, if they need any, and got their approval. Hence, we would be the last one to get their, to make their approvals. Does the board concur with that statement?
Question is, I don't know what Concom's practice here is. I know in some towns Concom will only accept, Concom requires being the final approval. If it is possible for us to be the final approval, I think that would be wonderful, but I don't know what Concom's practice is. Does anyone
Well,
on the
they're
board
currently
know?
under hearings, I believe. Is that correct, Director Ricker?
That's my understanding.
Perfect. Then yes, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Vince or Steve?
You first.
No issues?
Actually, I would just request that we get copies of their, their notice of the approval from the Conservation Commission and the ZBA. So I'd actually like to, the board to have copies of the variance and NOI.
And their approvals.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is that a good request there, Claire?
I think that's fair.
Okay. So do I have a motion with this added note?
So, Mr. Chair, I move to continue the hearing for docket 3879, 26 Dudley Street to June 1st, 2026.
Second?
Second.
Steve?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Shanna?
Yes.
I'm a yes, too. All right. The proponents for docket 3891, 126, and 128 Broadway. Can I ask you guys to be patient for another 15 minutes? I know you're next on the docket, but our fifth board member is on a conference call right now, and they'll be off. She'll be off momentarily, and we can continue then. I'm going to continue with all the businesses, if that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Oh, he's... Oh, I thought he was going to say something. Give him a chance. Okay. Okay, we're going to have to wait for her to vote on the report in town meeting, or because she had some notes that she wants to present.
She does have notes. I am not sure what how the rest of the board feels here. We have quite a bit to review and go through related to the board report. Sarah put together a great draft that includes at least the comments that we've received so far from board members, and we are ready to go through and make inline edits and changes as the board sees fit. I imagine it will take some time. I don't know if we should wait for Rachel to get started on that. Maybe, that's probably not a bad idea, but her comments, at least as provided, have already been included in the draft.
Steve, didn't you have a bunch of comments?
I had 3.
Okay. Oh, it was Vince that you had. Someone had a list.
I have some. Shana had some.
I have some.
Okay.
Most of mine are language, clarifying language. There are, I think, 2 that
You want to go through them now?
content-based.
We could go through them now, and we could revisit them when Ms. Zembury is available, or however
Yes.
the board wants to
Why don't
proceed.
we do that? Why don't we go through it now, just to keep things flowing? I don't want to pause. So, let me pull that up.
So what I have on the screen right now is a Word document that incorporates comments from Ms. Gorman Houston, Ms. Zembury, and Mr. Revelak, if the board wishes to review.
Okay. How far down is that on this thing here?
Would it be possible to hide the comments and make the text a little larger?
Let's see. How do I do that? Read mode? Yeah. Unclick show comments. Did we lose everybody's comments or everybody's changes? April 6th. Okay. Great. Did we fix Rich's? Yes. Okay.
I think if you could turn the markup back on, yeah, and just any comment in the margin, though.
I don't know, the comments in the margin are not coming down.
If the comments stay on, that's fine. As long as
Okay.
someone talks through and I can follow it from a copy over here, I can work with that.
All right.
Should we switch back, Bob? I know you took,
Where do you want me to?
I want to go back,
Do you want to go back? Okay.
instead of jumping back and forth.
Sure. If the chair and membership will please indulge us for a moment, it seems like as Ms. Simsbury is here, we could certainly reopen the hearing for 120, the site plan review hearing for 126 to 128 Broadway, rather than take a look at these comments right now.
I just give Rachel a few minutes just to unwind.
I can jump right in. Thank you for allowing me to take that other meeting.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Good?
Yep, thank you.
We're on number 4. We already went through all the nominations and everything else, so
Great.
hopefully you're okay with that.
Yep.
All right, next on our agenda is public hearing docket 3879, 26 Dudley, nope, sorry. Next on our agenda is docket number 3891, 126 and 128 Broadway. This is a site plan review hearing continued from March 2nd. Rachel, if you can sign that, and Vince, you signed yours already, right?
This was for Dudley.
I don't have one for this.
Okay. Do you want to introduce the project, Claire?
Sure, I'm happy to. So since our last meeting on this project, which was March 2nd, the applicant has provided answers to questions and materials related to the requests of the board from that meeting. They have updated plans and drawings, updated shadow diagrams, an updated transportation demand management plan, and they've submitted a trash management plan as well. The ARB identified several issues for the applicant to address, including addition of additional street trees, additional of long-term bicycle spaces, an increase to the size of the commercial space, an increase to drive aisle width, or consideration of closure of the Everett Street curb cut, consideration to add more vehicle parking spaces, to move or better screen the transformer, to address a shortage in solar panels, provide trash management plan, which they have done, and to consider increasing the soffit or head height of the commercial space entryway. These are updated plans, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Will the proponents please take up?
Good evening, Michael Cabral, legal counsel for the applicant.
Good evening, Tim Johnson, project architect.
You can go ahead and
Do you want to walk through some changes?
Sure. Mr. Chair, should I just walk through the changes that
sure.
we have made since March 2nd? Okay. So we received several comments from our last presentation of March 2nd. To recap, this is a 5-story mixed-use building, 28 residential units with 6 affordables, 1 commercial space, which is 60% of the ground floor area, 12 parking spaces, 42 bike interior spaces, 4 exterior bike parking spaces, and 2 charging stations. We also provided a trash calculations, which determine the size of our trash room and the number of receptacles in the trash room. We were asked to look at the site circulation relative to two-way traffic, one-way traffic. We worked closely with Howard Stein, our traffic management consultant, and we found that the circulation that we presented at the last presentation seemed to be the most effective, where you would enter the site from the Everett Street side and exit through via the Broadway Street side. With the combination of these two lots, there are 2 existing curb cuts, one on Everett and one on Broadway. So we would not be asking for any additional curb cuts for this site circulation strategy for the vehicles. We are providing the 22-foot wide travel lane coming from Everett along the rear or west side of the building, and then as we turn toward Broadway, the travel lane, one-way travel lane, reduces to 13 feet wide. Shall I just talk about the landscape plan, or do we want to present it, or?
I would continue with all the changes or all the things you addressed. I think,
All right.
I think some of the stuff like the elevations or
right,
the
very-
rooms were already discussed, and there were no issues with those, so we don't have to revisit that.
All right, very good, Mr. Chair. Our landscape architect, Susan Sangiolo, met with Susan, I forget Susan's last name, my apologies, who is very active in the town of Arlington with the street trees. Susan Stamps?
Stump.
Yes, Susan Stamps, my apologies. Susan was very glad that Susan reached out to her. They talked about the existing trees. All existing trees on the site will remain along both Broadway and Everett. There are 4 existing trees. We're proposing 4 new trees. However, per the town of Arlington's street tree requirements, you're required to have 1 tree every 25 foot of frontage, which requires us to have 9 trees. Due to curb cuts, utility poles with guy wires, and other existing trees, Susan, our landscape architect, could only fit 4 comfortably, and working closely with the tree warden on that placement of those trees. If we want to go, I believe, I'm sorry, one last item on site plan would be our transformer. It will not be pad mounted. We're proposing a subsurface electrical valve, which will be 14 feet long by 8 feet wide, at the curb cut facing Broadway. Of course, we need three-phase for the elevator, and it'll be an easy jump to go to heat pumps with that three-phase coming into the building. So we're happy with the new location of the electrical vault. It just gets it out of the way and will provide the required service for the project. In terms of elevations, we made two revisions. One was increasing the parapet on the Broadway elevation at the fourth floor plate. And the second was increasing the opening to the commercial space, a commercial entrance rather, which we did. And we also introduced some glazed brick at both entrances. If you notice that both entrances have a large skylight over the entrance, so during the day that light will reflect off the glazed brick and create some nice shadows and colors for the pedestrian walking by. So that is a quick overview, Mr. Chair. Mike and I can take comments, questions.
Thank you very much. Let's start with Steve.
Sure. So I'll start with trees. So at our last meeting, or during a previous hearing, we had, I think the plan was, or there was consideration for removing a street tree, and it sounds like that's no longer.
Yes, that's correct. The
Okay, good.
The tree at the Broadway, by making that one-way exit, the exit will not have to be widened to create the two-way, so that street tree can be saved at Broadway.
Okay, good. Now regarding the fact that you need 5 additional and can only get 4, there is a provision in the bylaw. It is 634E, which, when there is no suitable location within the public way, basically the board has the option of, or can allow you to make a financial contribution to the tree fund. And, we'll discuss this later, I assume, but that may be how that's handled. I appreciated the traffic analysis, and in terms of, how the different configurations would affect the number of parking spaces. And it seems like, for, in order to get 12, the two-way or the sort of circulation going from Everett to Broadway does seem like, the best option. Regarding TDM, if I recall correctly, the 3 measures that you had proposed were charging for parking on site, providing transit pass subsidies, and providing charging stations for bikes and scooters. Now, I saw the charging stations on the plans. Could you refresh our memories as to roughly what you plan to charge for parking?
I believe that was $175 per month.
And how would the transit pass subsidy work?
Those would be anyone who did not have a parking space on site would be offered.
Bless you.
I want to make sure I'm getting the language correct here. The unlimited link pass.
Okay. All right, very good. Would you be comfortable if those were conditions written into the site plan permit?
Yes.
Okay. And so I see we're basically, in terms of bonuses, we're just working on the mixed use bonus. I see that you're proposing 6 affordable units rather than the 4 that you need. So I think that's very generous. And I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll likewise say that I appreciate the effort you've made to preserve the trees, including the shade tree on Broadway, as well as to plant more new trees. I think you've done a good job there. I also appreciate some of the changes you've made to the building, including the windows, the entrance, the detailing. I think the blue glazed brick should be a nice touch. For the trash management plan, I suppose I don't have the professional knowledge myself to kind of calculate independently, but it seems optimistic. My very rough estimate is that your two cubic yard dumpsters would allow each unit to throw out maybe 3 kitchen trash bags per week. I don't know if that's more or less than the average household in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment throws out. And then for recycling tends to be bulkier than trash for the same weight. So even if there's less weight in recycling, I would imagine you gave a range of 4 to 6 96-gallon bins. I'd certainly imagine you'd be at least at the 6 96-gallon bins. So my question is not necessarily, you've done the report, I appreciate it. I'm just curious what your backup plan is if the capacity is not sufficient. Is it just more frequent pickup? Is it more containers? Is it a trash compactor?
Yes, thank you. So we did update our proposal from default disposal to have a twice-a-week pickup of both trash and recycling. So that would be a Monday and Thursday pickup at this point.
So you're doing 2 times a week, but if that is not even enough, you could go to 3 times a week.
Exactly right, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm satisfied with that, just knowing that you would need to, respond in some way. Parking, I'm kind of going to wait to see what the other board members feel about the parallel parking spaces that are 20 feet long rather than 22 feet, which is what we require. But I did pace out some cars parked in various areas of Boston today, and I found that on average they were taking up about 18 feet per car. So 20 feet seems not unreasonable to me. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Shanna?
Thank you. So my colleagues have touched on most of my questions and concerns already. With the transportation demand management plan, could you remind me, the transit pass subsidy, is that only for the first year or is that on an ongoing basis?
I believe that was for an ongoing basis. Again, anyone who did not purchase a parking space on site.
Okay, great, thank you.
And that was just starting with signing in the TDM plan, signing the first year lease, they would be entitled to that.
Okay, thank you. I also had some concerns about the trash management, but if you're able to adjust on an ongoing basis, then that's fine. Is there a location for the transformer? I didn't see it on the plans. I may have just missed it.
Yes. The curb cut at Broadway, right beyond the curb cut, we have the trench drain, and then we have the underground transformer vault.
Right. Okay. Okay. And have you spoken with the utility about their the likelihood of them approving an underground vault?
We have not spoken to the utility company yet. However, as Mr. Chair mentioned, or the board mentioned last meeting, there was a recent underground subsurface transformer at a similar mixed-use project in Arlington. Our MEP will be generating electrical loads and will be submitting them to the utility company this month.
Okay. I would put to my colleagues, should we, to discuss if we would want the applicant to come back should the utility will do what they want, of course, but what we want the applicant to do if the utility company puts the transformer somewhere that's not underground. Okay, and And I just wanted to call out, I just wanted to call out the shadow study because we've talked about this multiple times now. So this shadow study doesn't show any context, right? It doesn't show where the abutting buildings are. It doesn't, it just shows where lot lines are. It doesn't show what existing conditions are. So it's very difficult to understand, for a neighbor to understand, oh, this is not really, this is not going to change the impact on my house from today, or, oh, my house is going to be drastically more in shadow than it is today. And when context is lacking, imagination takes over, right? So I am not going to ask, my fellow board members may, I am not going to ask for an updated shadow study, but should the applicant come to us again with another project, I'd like them to keep in mind that we've had this conversation multiple times before, and it, I think, would really benefit your conversation with your neighbors to rethink how you present shadow studies. And that's all I have.
And just in response to that, we do have context in the sense that each lot is a different color on the shadow study. So although there's not a building, if you live next door, you could see how much shadow crossed over your property line. So that's minimal context, yes, but it's a shadow study that does not have any context. But I understand your point, and next time there will be buildings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Rachel?
Thank you. Just to confirm, I did watch the hearing from March 2nd and have familiarized myself with the discussion from that evening. So thank you to my fellow board members and to you for the comprehensive review at that meeting. I understand that you, my fellow board members reviewed and approved the sample board at that meeting. My question, because it's difficult to tell obviously from the rendering, is how the new, I think it's a blue and a green glazed brick at the entrances relate to the color palette that you have presented for the rest of the building.
Rachel, I just want to say, the blue grays brick is new. That was not part of the last presentation. That's something you changed.
So that's what I'm asking,
okay.
Just how I'm asking you to just talk us through how you see that relating to the upper stories of the building.
Well, we wanted to, sometimes color gets thrown out.
And I completely understand that, which is why I'm just asking you to
Yeah.
talk us through what the intent is, because
Yeah.
I understand that this may not be a reliable source, and without asking you to go through the whole sample
Sure.
board again, I just would like to understand what's the intent for the blue and its relationship, because it looks very electric blue
Yeah,
compared to the
Well, what
very
we,
New England palette you have.
yeah, if the board does okay a glazed brick in the entrances, of course, on our mock-up panel, we would provide samples for the board to approve of that, the specific glaze color. It's the blues, of course, the upper floors are in the grays and blues. We have the reds in the brick. So choosing colors that were the blue, of course, is a little bit cooler than the green, a little bit the green's a little bit warmer. It was really just a pick on just intuition, I would say. Felt those colors were appropriate for those entrances, and they would be backlit by the skylight. So the glazing would give different, bounce around and give different hues of the blues and different hues of the greens. That's kind of how we envisioned it.
Great.
But we're not tied to those colors. But we do feel that since we are adding large skylights over those entrances, it would be nice to have some colors in there that begin to play with the light. And that was our intention. We're not tied to the green or blue.
And I think it's interesting, the idea of the glazed brick to, again, bring attention to the public entrances, both to the common entry. I do like the idea of introducing a green there, and I think I like the idea of the blue as opposed to the execution of the actual color in the rendering, and I understand what you're saying about the depiction. Another question I have,
Rachel, can I just ask a question for the board? Did we review physical samples at the March 2nd meeting?
Yes, they had brought samples that
Okay,
day.
my apologies.
and I think, what I heard was that you all reviewed them and indicated that they didn't need to bring them back again this evening.
They asked us if they needed to bring them
Right.
back in. We said no, we didn't have to.
Right, so, right. Okay, so just on the vestibule, I had a hard time understanding from the original package and from the hearing what the lighting, how you're lighting the vestibule. I know that you have the skylight there, and typically in that type of a vestibule, you'd have a recessed downlight. So how are you, can you just remind me how you're lighting at night, that vestibule?
Sure. Well, we'll be following the Dark Sky Initiative. All lights, exterior lights will be downlit and shielded. We'll be using cool LED bulbs, which have a very short wavelength. And in both entrances, we do have a section of ceiling, and that's where all the recessed lights will be. Probably closer to the glazed brick, so some light can begin to bounce off that glazed brick. So there'll be down, to answer your question, would be down lights in both entrances.
Okay, at the perimeter, so you'll have kind of an even lighting of that perimeter in both entrances.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Another question that I have for you, and again, I was having a hard time telling from the building sections and from the elevations, is how you're resolving the way that the planes come together at the point where the shiplap meets the brick, and both from a both where they're coming together vertically as well as one on top of the other. It almost looks from the plan that the brick is inset from the wall section of the remainder of the building that has the hardy plank, and from section it almost looks like the siding sits proud of, a little bit proud of the brick, which seems counterintuitive to, I think, what the intent was, which was the brick really grounding in the commercial space, this building. So can you speak to that at all? And again, that's from section 8, the section on sheet A10, as well as in the first floor plan, the way that that's drawn.
Mm-hmm. Could we see section 8? Oh, I think you. That's a section.
This is the section on
Yes.
A10.
Yeah. So again, the way that it appears when you're turning the corner let me just actually go back to the plan.
Well, I can begin to describe it if you'd like.
That would be great. Is your intent that the brick is, so as I'm looking at sheet A2, in the upper right corner, the brick is shown inset from the plane is inset from the adjacent plane, which again seems counterintuitive to how we would expect to visually see this building.
Sure. It is a full depth brick, and it's a veneer. But you walk around Back Bay or some of the older buildings where you have the connection between a brick veneer and, say, a wood siding. The brick veneer is typically inset because it's a full, probably 3 or 4 width thick brick wall, and the framing sits on top of the brick wall. So you're going to have your siding coming down and maybe over the brick or sitting on top of the brick, but not too much.
So your intent is for the siding to be proud of the brick?
The intent is to not make the brick veneer look like a veneer. So what we will do is the second floor plate will be steel framed. We'll bring the steel framing beyond the columns at the perimeter. So we have the columns and the steel beams will come beyond the columns, and then we have our composite deck. We'll extend our pour stop, which will be strengthened to go over the brick veneer. So that the brick veneer will actually look like a full thickness, a full brick thick wall. It won't be a veneer that looks like it's pasted onto the building. So our composite deck and pour stop will go over the brick, and so the brick will seem recessed in, and it'll give it a different feel, that's all.
Okay.
And we can provide a detail of that to the board.
I appreciate that. I think I'm concerned about the inset nature of the brick. My colleagues may not share that, but I just wanted to mention that. We can discuss whether or not they have any concerns about that as we continue. Another question I have for you is, I understand you've revised the size of the commercial properties for this hearing so that it's 60% of the floor area. It was not at the first. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
They were short, I think 28 square feet.
Do you have that calculation shown anywhere? I saw the size of the commercial space, but not the ground area in the revised package. I saw all of the unit sizes, but not how you're calculating the ground floor area.
That would,
And I may have missed it, so if you could point that out, that would be helpful.
if you go to the cover sheet,
Yep.
we have our all our calculations there, and
It's also on sheet C01 at the bottom.
is it okay? I know it's somewhere.
So it's shown as 5,938 square feet.
Right. I thought we had that calculation shot. This is a little bit small for me here.
Thank you. I did not see that. 5,938.
38.
And did you include the area underneath, did you include the parking spaces that are within the building footprint as part of that calculation or not?
Oh, yes.
So that is part of the 5,938 square feet?
Oh, yes, that was a question in one of our previous hearings about occupiable space versus gross square footage, and we included the entire ground floor.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. And could you also confirm, I did not hear this at the last hearing, my apologies if this is a repeat, if you could confirm that there will be no venting or exhaust penetrations at the vertical surfaces of the exterior of the building, and that all exhaust will go through the roof?
That's correct. All
Okay.
exhausts will be going through the roof. Each unit will be required to have an ERV. We will have one main ERV per floor, which all ductwork from each unit will travel down the corridor in a drop ceiling into that one ERV unit, and that ERV unit will be probably near the elevator shaft, and it'll go directly to the roof. So same thing with our vents we'll be using ventless washer dryers. Vents for the bathrooms will be part of the EV exhaust, which will be going to the roof. So we have that's taken care of. Washer dryer is ventless, and the range hoods are recirc hoods. So there will be no opportunity for any vents to be going out any sidewalls.
Great, thank you for the clarification. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for picking up on that. Where the outside face of the upper floors and the brick veneer is below. I understand what you're trying to do there. I'm assuming the cornice that goes across there will take care of that transition.
We haven't worked out the detail yet, but it is a standard detail. It's a standard detail we use a lot. We do a lot of podium construction, and it's a standard detail we use a lot when we have brick veneer on the ground floor level.
So the cornice steps out to meet the outside face of the siding above it, or is there like a shadow line underneath it? That's what the weirdness I'm looking at right now.
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I am, Mr. Chair. I haven't worked out the detail yet, but I can supply a detail to the board. But the goal is to overhang with the composite deck over the brick veneer so that we don't have a brick veneer that looks like it's pasted on the building. We want that to look like a true.
No, I understand that, and I can appreciate that. That's it's more timely done that way, more traditionally, to say. But I just want to know how you deal with that transition, because I don't want to see the underside of some sort of step flashing that's just exposed. That's not the way it's going to look nice.
No, I that's understood. Again, the detail hasn't been worked out yet, but be more than happy to provide that detail to the board sooner than later.
Sure. Were you done, Rachel? I didn't mean to.
Nope, I'm good for now. Thank you.
All right. I do have a couple of quick questions. Can you pull up the plan I had there? This is what I had drawn. It's a sketch, okay? Where it shows the red line. That is what you're counting as commercial space, right?
No, that also includes the exercise room.
The exercise room is included in the commercial space?
It's an amenity space, yes.
No.
Then the exercise room can be deleted. That has been included in
Speak to the microphone, sorry, it's hard to
the
hear.
exercise room has been included. It's in the gross square footage.
I believe exercise room is an amenity to the building, unless you're calling that a a health club or some sort of that where it's open to the public, where they can use and exercise there, and that's part of the public space. So
Well-
then that's different, okay? But I want you to be clear with me, what's what?
To answer your question, what is labeled exercise room is part of the 60%.
Okay, so that exercise room should be crossed out and just say commercial space,
Understood.
right?
Understood.
And the 2 bathrooms also should be crossed out and taken out and counted as commercial space, because it's only for the commercial space use.
The 2 bathrooms are part of the commercial space.
Yes, but I don't need to know where the bathrooms are, it's just commercial space. I don't know, just like I don't need to know where the registers are, I don't need to know where the back of the house is. It's commercial space, period.
I believe in a previous meeting with the board, you asked that we show accessible toilets in the commercial space, but we can certainly delete them.
Okay. That might have been some confusion, but I don't think, that's fine. If you take that out and include the exercise room there as part of the commercial space, that's fine, okay? If I look at your first page, where you have the calculations, on C1, whatever, nope, yeah, CO1. Nope, A00. You do all your calculations there. One of your lines, say commercial space, it says plus or minus 60%. I can't accept that. It's either whatever greater or not. It's not a megany. It's either is or isn't. So tell me what the square footage is, and if whatever's over 60%, state it, okay? That's fair?
We can get rid of the plus minus on that number, certainly.
Okay, then, I'm touching base on some of what my colleagues said, also some other comments, and I'm just going to reinforce some of them. Your transformer vault that's underground in the driveway, I don't believe that's going to work. But I'm going to leave it up to you and the professionals to put that in. But I'm going to make a stipulation that if that transformer vault does not work and needs to be put somewhere back on the site plan, that you come back to us to reopen the hearing and say, here's where we plan to put it. It's not going to be something that's administratively approved or anything else like that. It's going to be back to the full board hearing here. Because I don't really see any space there, the way you have laid out here, for that to go. I'm just giving you some examples. Just usually a transformer or this, it's probably a fairly high kVA transformer, and there can be a switch gear there. And most of those guys use a 12-foot pole to pull the thing, because they're not going to get nowhere near that thing to turn it off. I don't see how a 12-foot pole fits in there for them to pull back on. But you guys can work that out. I'm not an engineer here, okay? So I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to work the way it's laid out there. If it doesn't work, you have to come back. I'll leave it at that.
No, we understood.
You have 5 parking spaces along that driveway there that are 20 feet wide. Our zoning states that parallel parking is supposed to be 22 feet long. Is that a relief you're asking from us?
That would be a relief we're asking from the board, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let the board, let the rest of the boards put their comments in, but I don't, I won't, I don't believe in that. I won't support that, a relief. Right now, you have a handicap spot indicated on a compact space. Can you just move it up to the other side of the drive line, and that'll be adequate for a handicap parking space?
Could you repeat that, Mr. Chair?
If you look at the site plan, parking space.
Yes.
That's a compact space. A handicap space can't be a compact space, so you just move that sign over to here, and that'll be fine.
Understood.
The two compact spaces you showed there are 7'6". Our compact spaces are 8 feet wide. So you're gonna have to add 6 inches to each one of those spaces and just make that little pilaster in a corner there a little bit smaller, like a foot smaller, and that should work.
Understood.
You show columns there along these cars here. You can have any concrete protecting those columns, or just they look like 8x8s or something like that.
We'll have concrete bumpers up to 3 foot high per code.
So they're going to encroach into the parking spaces.
They will be 12 inches in, 12 inches in, 6 inches, 12 inches in width. Yes, so right now the columns are shown 6 by 6. So it'll be an additional 3 inches on each side of that column.
So 3 inches will be into the parking space. So the actual parking space will be 8'3", where it butts the columns. I don't know. It's a question. Is that or?
The columns, if you look closely at the plans, the columns are in a 6-inch wide aisle.
Oh, I see.
So the columns do not take any space away from the dimension, the width of the parking space.
But then you add your 3 inches for the bumpers for the columns. I'm assuming the bumpers are in the parking space, or they're not in the parking space. They're in front.
We can make that, if the chair would like us to make that a full 8'6", we will make that a full 8'6".
Yes. I just want to make sure the parking is, it's pretty tight already. And the fact that the columns are so far up on the parking spaces there, I think Vince at the last meeting asked you to see if you can push it back a little bit so the building above cantilevers over a little bit more, so that a car coming out has better room of turning. But I'll just lay that that's a concern there.
We did push, per those comments, you can see the 20-foot wide, 22-foot wide travel lane. And then the columns are pushed back an additional 1.5 feet. So we did push those back per the last meeting's comments.
It's just the way you showed the cars there. It doesn't look like it's pushed back at all.
But,
I see
Mr.
what you're
Chair,
saying.
excuse me, did you want us to make that a full 8.5 feet?
Correct.
Okay.
On your, where it comes down, the stairs on the one-way driveway there, the door empties out right into the driveway. I'm wondering if you were to take that stair out and make that an alcove in that little vestibule there. And so when you come down to the stairs, you open the door and you go into the alcove, and then you can decide if it's a car running by or not. So you have it's a safer egress. I just see people not wanting to wait for one elevator, that if you lived on the second floor or third floor, I just come right down the stairs. And just, I just see that an accident waiting to happen.
No, we can create an alcove there.
All right. I'm going to return to the board here for a minute and say, what do you guys think about, because I'm not sure, is it within our powers to give you relief on the parallel parking, a reduction of that. Steve?
Well, in terms of one, one way to approach to get the 22, to go to 22 feet would be to simply eliminate one of those spaces.
I don't want that. I think they don't have enough parking already.
Well, then I think we have to make a, we have a trade-off to discuss.
Yes, we do.
So, Mr.
Vince?
Chair, one of the things. Apologies. One of the things we've been talking about is increasing the size of some of the compact spaces. I believe right now they have 4 compact parking spaces. Our zoning would allow them 6. I'm wondering if, our bylaw doesn't specifically specify a compact parallel parking space, but if they were able to get the total number of compact spaces down to 6, but they would consider those parallel parking spaces as compact parking spaces, would you be comfortable with that?
I looked into our zoning, and our zoning, unfortunately, is silent to compact parallel spaces.
Right, it'd be a judgment call on our part, but it was based on me walking around earlier today and seeing how many cars could fit along the curb. So what I did was I measured out 5 cars, how much space that took. It took about 18 feet per car. It took 90 feet total. Whereas if we were asking for 22 feet per car, it would have taken 110 feet. So it seemed reasonable to me to reduce from 22 to 20, which is kind of in the midpoint between realities. People take about 18 feet per car.
So what's the compromise you're looking at?
Well, they're proposing 20-foot long spaces. And we would consider those as compact spaces, but that would mean that some of the other spaces there, they would need to figure out a way to get full-size spaces
Right now,
to remain under the 6.
Right now, I believe they have 2 compacts out of the 12. Is that correct, the way it's shown?
4, I think.
4, because some of them are compact in length, even if they're not compact in width.
Okay. I see.
So if they could figure it out, I would be open to the proposal if they could figure out a way to revise the non-parallel spaces such that there were only, that they only had 6 compact spaces as they're allowed, and those parallel spaces were considered compact. I would consider that, and it would be incumbent upon them to figure out how to do that, or what approach they wanted to take. But I do think that's an idea worth considering.
Rachel, you have an opinion on that?
This is such a tight site.
I know, and
they are they did increase you increased the number of parking spaces from 10 to 12, correct?
Yes, ma'am, from 10 to 12.
that was a request the board had. Yes, Steve?
Regarding the bylaw's silence on compact parallel spaces, a compact space is 2 feet shorter than a full-size space. So I think it would be reasonable to permit a compact parallel space in 20 feet instead of 22.
I don't disagree with you that it's okay to extrapolate that way. I'm just telling you that it's silent on that when you read it.
Yeah, so this, bylaws can't cover every possible case, and sometimes you have to you have to make an informed decision. But I would be comfortable with that.
Which, with making all the 5 up there compacts and the rest has to be full size? Is that, I don't know what the compromise is. We kept on going back and forth.
So I think one of the parallel spaces, the one closest to the street, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is it can actually meet the standard because there's space in front of it. And please correct me if I'm wrong. But
I
but
looked at
4
that.
of them.
I don't read it that way.
Okay.
There is a spot in our variance says, if the space in front of the parallel space, if there's space for them to pull out, that could be brought down 18 feet. But you're asking them to drive over landscape and sidewalk, and that's not drivable space. If it was like I turned a corner and there was a driveway there, then that's okay to be 18 feet. That's how I interpret it. But I'm willing to listen to the rest of the board here, see what they think, but that's my interpretation.
So even if the board made a finding that 20 feet was sufficient for a compact parallel space, we would still be at the challenge of the total number of compact spaces being above the permissible percentage.
So some of what are shown as compact spaces would have to become full size.
They'd have to
Exactly.
grow them.
So
That's right.
I think that is something that we would have to put back to the applicant as to identifying a way to meet the compact maximum percentage once the board is able to provide
So,
guidance as to whether or not we
Our proposal,
would,
our proposal to
approve the
you
20.
is that the 5 parallel spaces would be counted as compacts, and all the other remaining 15, no, sorry, not 15, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, actually, they'd only need to switch one. So.
3.
Oh, 3. Okay, well, all right, so out of 50% can be compact. So if 5 of them are the parallel, then at most 1 of the others
Or
could
7.
be. Yeah.
Or 7, all the ones underneath would be full size. That means where I had asked you to go from 7'6" to 8 feet, you would have to go to 8'6", so you would have to gain 2 more feet. So 2 feet would be have to taken off of the pilaster there, which it seems like you have room there. I just put a column there. And then that would make it 7 full-size spots with 5 compacts.
They could, but they could have 1 compact underneath.
Correct, it's 6.
If they choose.
But your point stands, they would still have to grow, and most of the spaces underneath, and as you say, there may be room for that.
But is that a fair compromise the board can agree upon?
Yes, I can agree to that.
Maybe we should just ask the question of the applicant whether they think they can
Well, they're
achieve
already
that.
saying they're gonna,
No, I mean, I wonder if the board would consider losing one of the parallel spaces to increase the size there as well, so that we don't have to go back and reconfigure all the other parking spaces under there. I know it was a request of the chair to try and add some additional parking spaces on site, but also I think the board has the ability to, waive that and reduce some parking here. And with the TDM in place, we originally brought in the 10 spaces. If we lose one of the parallel, I think we still gain the extra parking space, but may also not find ourselves in a really difficult position here on trying to get some of the compact spaces to be full size under the building.
well, I would feel uncomfortable that way just because I thought I was making a fair compromise when I said that I was uncomfortable reducing it beyond 50%. So I had I had reduced my request earlier to get to the 12, based on urgence of the other board members saying they were comfortable with 12. So now you want us to bring it down to 11.
Well, in our previous proposal, what we did was, we've just doubled the size of the project and therefore doubled the size of the parking spaces coming in, believing that was acceptable to the board, sort of on the first iteration of these plans. So if we take away one of the parallel spaces, we're still netting out one additional space from where we started as well.
I know that, but I would be uncomfortable with that. I don't know, I'm not speaking, I'm speaking for myself. I'm going to relieve, you know. So are you guys saying you guys
Do you want
comfortable?
us to weigh in?
Yes, I would like you guys to weigh in, because it's not my opinion, it's our opinion.
Steve, I prefer that the members who were at the first hearing
Yeah.
start first.
Steve?
And then I'll jump in.
So I would be comfortable either way. Going from 12 to 11 spaces is still within the realm of TDM. I would also be comfortable with, the configuration that we've discussed, having the parallel spaces be compact. Requiring a little bit of adjustment to what's underneath the podium. So I could go either way.
Vince?
Same as Steve. I do think that the outcome in which you have 12 spaces, of which 6 are compact, is probably the best for both the project team and the neighborhood, but either would be satisfactory to me.
Shanna?
I agree with Vince. If it is possible to achieve 12, I think that would likely be preferable. If it's not, I would accept 11. Simply eyeballing the plans, it looks like it is likely possible, but of course, you would need to take a closer look and do it. There does seem to be space under the building, but you would need to take a closer look and know for sure.
Yeah.
I think we'd be happy to make that a condition to attempt to get all full-size spaces under the building after just talking with Tim. We're okay with making that a condition of the decision.
Thank you. Then, well, that ends that.
Well, and you can have one compact under the building.
So to confirm, all parallel be compact, and does the board have a preference to have one compact under, or to try and maximize full-size all under the building?
I don't think that the board has a preference. You are allowed up to 6 compact. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say that my preference is all it to be full-size. But that's me. I'm not going to speak for the rest of the board.
And
I do have a couple more questions.
And 12.
And
That's
12. 12 definitely, yes.
12 and up to 6 compact
Okay.
Is the preference.
seems to be the majority preference.
In your plan here, first floor plan, are you fairly tight with your commercial space now that I'm seeing that you include exercise room as part of your commercial space, and the board has calculated that the cars that's underneath the building does not have to count toward the ground floor space? Because right now, I don't think you have enough space allocated for the ground floor. I'm going to ask you some of these questions here. I don't see a sprinkler room that will be required. And I don't see an elevator control room that will also be required. Even though these spaces are small, they are spaces and they require door access and hallway. So how close is the ratio you have right here to 60%?
It's very close. The elevator machine room would go on the roof.
I didn't say that, elevator control room. The newer elevators have, the elevator, the machine could be on top of the elevator cap, yes. But the elevator control room, that what you're saying is gonna be up on the roof?
The elevator mechanical room will be on the roof.
So there's no requirement for a room on the first floor for the elevator?
Not in the elevator. Several the elevator shops that I reviewed in the past 3 months have
Fair enough.
there's no control room in those shops.
Okay,
But we use Kone.
which is fine, okay, we'll move on from that.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair. If we do need additional utility space, we are prepared to add a utility basement near the elevator core.
Well, right now, you call it a utility room. Is that utility room part of your commercial space, or is it part of the?
Sorry to interrupt. That utility room is part of the commercial space.
Okay,
I think they need to come back and draw out what is, the commercial space is just the commercial space, and we need to see it.
Okay.
can you pull up my plan?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I sort of agree with Rachel. If you can come back with a drawing similar to what I did here, that includes the utility room as part of the commercial space, the exercise room is part of the,
That does not include the utility room as part of the commercial space.
yes, I don't have it right now.
Sorry, you just said does.
Oh, sorry. Does or does not. And exercise room as part of the commercial space. So that we have a clear definition of what is commercial space.
Mr. Chair, can we go over that now and talk about what's included in the commercial space so that we could make that either a condition of the board's decision this evening and not have to come back with that specific calculation?
Let me ask that to the board and see if they're comfortable with that.
No, I would want to see the calculation.
Shannon?
I'm kind of confused about, so I'm not clear what denominator you're using for your 60% calculation. I'm not, and yeah. I'm pretty confused about what's in your commercial space.
All right. Vince?
So my understanding is that the denominator that they're using is the footprint of the floor above, or the floors above, the building above. Just for some context,
Not,
our bylaw requires a commercial space that's 60% of the ground floor at street level. What that means is sort of a hot topic, and the board has been split as to whether it means the area enclosed by the exterior walls of the ground floor, which would be smaller, or whether it means the footprint of the building, or the building area as measured by all of the floors above. And just in the interest of fairness, I think we should state that in recent projects, we've interpreted it to mean the area enclosed by the exterior walls at the ground floor, which would give you a smaller denominator. Like I said, it's something that is a current topic of discussion, and this might be changed in the future, but that's the interpretation the board has been using. So I think again, just coming back to what I would like to know, we know the area of the commercial unit, although I agree that the exercise room should be deducted. It's part of the amenity space for the apartment. But I do believe that if you count as your denominator the area enclosed by the exterior walls at the ground floor, that you probably achieve the 60%, and you might even have, if you needed to add a couple square feet for an elevator control room or whatever else, you might even have some margin of error. So I would be comfortable approving this just with the condition you provide that plan and calculation to the department, but that's just my opinion.
And we would agree to that, and we would also agree that if this commercial space itself is not enough, then the exercise room would be turned into additional commercial space as well.
My understanding now, it is counted as commercial space.
It is.
That's how you explained to me.
it's,
Now you're saying it's not?
I'm saying if it was not, then it will be turned into additional commercial space.
No, but you stated earlier that,
Tim, is the fitness room included in that?
Mr. Chair, as I mentioned earlier, we included the fitness room in the 60%.
so right now it's counted as part of the commercial space.
It is.
So
Yes.
there's nothing for you to add
Right.
if it's
So-
close.
Then I think with that space in there, I think we satisfy the commercial space number of 60%.
Well,
And the only reason we added, we showed the unisex toilets, Mr. Chair, was that was asked of us from a prior hearing. So we were trying to do our due diligence and provide the board with everything they asked for. So just to say again, of the 60%, we included the exercise room and the unisex toilets.
thank you. Let me finish asking what the board feels. Steve?
I concur with Mr. Bodine.
Okay.
I think that with the previous mixed-use project, we interpreted the 60% requirement relative to the enclosed area, and I would be okay with administrative approval showing the calculations, but with the caveat that your commercial unit should just be the commercial unit and not include the utility room or the exercise room.
Oh, Steve, they're saying the utility, not the, they're saying that the exercise room is part of the commercial space.
Steve is asking them to calculate the commercial unit without the exercise room, without the utility room. But again, we don't have those calculations this evening.
To be more clearly, if the exercise room stays, it's not a commercial space. If the exercise room, if you take that wall down on the Broadway-facing side between the exercise room and the commercial unit, then it's commercial space.
But again, we don't have a plan that confirms this, and we don't have anything to approve.
So right now, we have two saying that they're willing for administrative approval, and one and two question marks. I'm placing you and me and Shannon on the question marks right now.
So, can you, I'm trying to get dimensions off your plans, but it's a little small on my computer. It looks like roughly the dimensions of the parking spaces in the aggregate, it's like 18 by 67. Is that correct?
Do not have that, the length of, if we combined all the parking spaces width, if that would be 67, I can't confirm that at the moment.
So what I'm trying to figure out is roughly how the denominator would change. If we're taking the 260 square feet of exercise room out of the commercial unit, but we're also shrinking the area that you need to calculate 60% of. Are you likely going to make it? Is it going to be very close? In which case, or are you, or are you most certainly going to achieve it? If you're most certainly going to achieve it, then I'm comfortable with administrative. If it's going to be very close, then I feel differently about this.
Well, all the spaces on the ground floor, except the foyer, the trash room, the bike storage, and the open garage, everything else is commercial space.
That wasn't my question, actually. I don't think you.
I just wanted to
One,
put
two,
that on the record,
three,
ma'am.
I'm going to table this for a minute, and I'm going to open this up, and we'll return it back to the board. I'm going to give the board a chance to think about it, what's going on here for a minute. I'm going to open it up for public comment for now, and see where we go. And I'm going to call, as I call people up, please address the board. All questions are going to the board. And anybody have any comments? Sure. Please come up to the table there and state your name and address. And will you raise your hand? Yes. Yes, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laurel Kane, and what else did you want me to say?
Your address.
79 Westmoreland Ave.
Thank
and
you.
I'm a newly elected town meeting member. And I have a couple of quick points. One is I hear all of the debate and discussion and questions around how to do these calculations. And as this is sort of one of the vanguard projects for this complex MBTA Communities Act that was passed by the town meeting with lots of deliberation, to have this lack of clarity feels concerning. And I feel like, wouldn't it be better to remand this to town meeting for them to hash out these questions, since their wording seems to be unclear to the members of this board? My second comment is regarding the exercise room. I would appreciate if that was removed from if it's not actually space that a commercial tenant could use for their business, which if it's full of exercise equipment and being used by the residents, it wouldn't be. That doesn't seem fair. And it also seems like having an exercise room detracts from the business opportunities of fitness businesses in the town of Arlington. And wouldn't we, as a town, for tax purposes, be better served by encouraging those businesses?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, Asha Kepka, 17 Silk Street. I live nearby this proposed building, and I wanted to again reinforce the issues of the practicality. I do believe that the trash management has not been properly addressed. As we are trying to be more green society and recycle more, I only see the 6 bins for the trash, the 96 gallons. Currently, each person in Arlington, each household received 64-gallon trash barrel. And I know a lot of the residents don't find that, that amount of recycling is not enough. So in this case, when you're looking at 6 barrels at 96 gallons, that would equal to 9 containers, so 9 households. Because so many people will be living in this building, 28 households plus commercial space, you're gonna need way more capability for the recycling and trash. You're gonna have to probably do 3 times a week trash and recycling. And that doesn't even include the amount of recycling that's going to be generated during the moving time. Another big issue is the snow removal. Based on the recent mixed-use projects, I noticed that the snow issue has been neglected. The owners of the 2 projects next to the high school have made pedestrian sidewalk completely impassable. There is a small, always like little path cleared, but then the actual crosswalks are blocked by the piles of snow. In this project, I don't see where the owner, the building management can put the snow. When we are talking about the spaces for the cars, we're not looking at potential winter situation where people have to clear their snow from the cars. They have to dump that snow. I mean, this is going to create major safety issue for the pedestrians. I myself live next to the building, and many times I am plowed over. I had a heart surgery. I'm sorry?
You're coming up to 3 minutes.
Okay. You know, as residents, we don't have much recourse. I had a heart surgery, and I was coming home after doctor's appointment. I couldn't get my driveway, even though I shoveled the driveway. The building next to me usually pushes the snow onto the road, and then I get plowed in over and over again. So in this case, I don't see how this building can function with the new residential.
Thank you very much. Yes?
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Can you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Melita Marks, and I live at 13 Pine Ridge Road, and I'm a new elect town meeting member. And I'd just like to generally express my concerns about the project. This seems very similar to a lot of other recent projects in that I feel that the size of this project seems very inappropriate for the neighborhood, which is currently mostly two-family houses and low buildings. And I feel that in this case, I know the board has much more technical knowledge than I do about the particulars of what is permissible, but my feeling overall is that there is a desire to just make it as big and as tight as they possibly can squeeze in and basically get away with in a situation where I feel that the neighborhood as a whole should be considered when building such projects, and particularly in a case where you are considering granting a bonus floor, which is not necessarily a given for any project. So my question is this, given the size of the lot and the size of the buildings around it and the surrounding street, is this an appropriate structure to have here? There's obviously not nearly enough parking with 28 units. I mean, it's a nice thought to think that everybody's going to ride their bicycles, but we all have done many studies to learn that most people in Arlington have cars, and maybe they need cars.
Coming up to 3 minutes.
In the city. So, pardon me?
You're coming up to 3 minutes. You're
Okay,
allowed.
all right.
I just want to give you a fair
I'll speed it
warning.
up here, all right. So I think there are a myriad of problems that a project of this size will cause. And furthermore, I don't believe that it meets the requirement of the 60% of the ground floor being dedicated to commercial space. I think that's pretty plain in the language, at least 60% of the ground floor. That a floor indicates a building. So it's 60% of the enclosed space. It seems like it's very tight to that. Again, not having the technical knowledge about exactly the square footage here, but, and I question whether the inclusion of a exercise room as part of the commercial space, I question how the removal of that is going to happen, and where is that exercise room then going to go? Will it be somewhere else in the building? What is the plan for that? My worry would be that they would say, oh, it's commercial space, and then the next week it would become an exercise room.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Lee, and I live just over the fence. So as I understand it, this will put my garden in shadow every morning. That's what I think I understand, but Tim could clarify perhaps. Quick question, I'd love to know the full height of the building with on the roof, like what I'm going to look at out my bedroom window. Solar panels, elevator shaft, that's not really clear to me yet in terms of what that full height is. And also on the downlights in the back when I'm trying to go to sleep and the lights are coming on when people are coming home and parking. I think I heard earlier 45 seconds, then will they really go off, or are they going to go on every time a squirrel goes across the fence? Those are questions I have about quality of life for being a neighbor. I still think the scale is too big. I wish this project, I think it's great. I love housing. I love TOD. I wish it were 4 floors like Arlington East across the street. I think that's an appropriate use for this neighborhood. I think 5 is just too big. And yes, it's sitting in my backyard, but it feels really too big. And there was the earlier comment about that it just feels like everything is getting pushed to the absolute outside. And this is the one that's going to determine what Broadway looks like. And this is going to greatly impact our town, perhaps with overdevelopment, if everything is pushed like this on every lot that's allowed to be developed on Broadway. And the other concern I have and have had from the beginning, I just don't understand the technicalities of why the sidewalk is not being extended to the curb. The school children already, it's a really dangerous crossing for the kids. And when you have people coming and going into the commercial space and the kids going back and forth, we've recently had a hit and run over there for a little 11-year-old boy. It's a very, very busy intersection, and there needs to be more space for people, pedestrians, school kids, to move around that building and that corner, in my opinion. So that's what I think. And I don't know if I said my name. It's Alexandra Lee.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Those are my questions, but I am glad about the trees, new trees.
Thank you. You, sir?
Good evening, Larry Slotnick, 94 Grafton Street. I'm going to echo a sentiment of Shana, and that's also been just expressed by Alexandra and a previous commenter about context. So Shana was talking about the shadow studies and not showing the neighboring structures and where those shadows actually hit the structures and not just the lot itself. But I think in general, I'm not saying this is intentional, but it would be great if all the elevation drawings, like this one that you just passed by, and others like it, had neighboring structures. Not necessarily the Broadway structures, but the ones that are on, like for this project, on Everett Street. Because we really can't have a hard time understanding the impact that Alexandra just tried to point out to everybody. And then the second more just specific point that Ken, you brought up was about the underground transformer situation, most likely having to come up to ground level, and in my mind, most likely having to displace a parking space in order to fit those transformers. So I guess we'll address that point when when they're invited back after they speak with Eversource. But and I think I'm going to stop there.
Thank you. Is anybody else? Yes, you, sir?
I'm David Bean, 50 Jason Street. I'm a town meeting member too. In general, watching and listening to the discussion over the past few sessions, one thing strikes me about this project is that everything is very, very, very close to the limits. You're talking about mere inches, like with the parking spaces and a few square feet here and there for the commercial space. And I think this all points to my opinion, which is just that this is too big a project for the site it's on. As others have said, it's likely to be the harbinger of other buildings along Broadway. The one up by Eli's gas station threatens to be another, and it could result in just another canyon like North Cambridge on Mass Avenue. I don't think that the board should be bending over backwards to help the proponents squeeze in all these apartments that they want to get in there, and stick to the rules exactly as they're written. And if they can meet those guidelines, so be it. But I think it's just too big. And with fewer apartments, many of these problems would go away. These measurement problems. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak about this project? Seeing there's none, I close public comment and return the comments back to the board.
If you wanted to start at 6:30 on the 27th, we could probably squeeze it in. 27th, if we started at 6:30. In April? In April. 2 weeks from now, or May 18th, or May 18th.
2017? Sorry.
So,
Excuse me for 1 minute.
let me just double check. They can come on the 27th if we wanted to start at 6:30. Or they could come on May 18th and be the only ones on the docket.
Thank you. All right. So we have a couple of things. Well, let me address a couple of questions that came from the open forum. This is a site plan review, and when you're addressing massing and scale, unfortunately, we can't address that because it's not part of the site plan review. We can review, does it meet zoning, does it meet setbacks, does it meet whatever, and that's what we've been talking about. Town meeting did approve the scale of the buildings with the bonuses. So we can't go back on that. Now, there seems to be a lot of dialogue about confusion and discussions, and I believe that's a healthy thing because not everybody has the same opinion and a difference of looking at things. And that's what we have here. And as a party of a board here, we voted on it, 3-5, saying how we should calculate the ground floor area. Contrary to what some of the rumors have been spread around about it doesn't meet the state building code. The state building code is silent on that part. It does not say everything below the ground floor counts as ground floor area. We've asked the building inspector that, and he says he can't find that. Okay, so we made a decision on that. And that decision is based off of how we interpret it. Another part of the code says floor area is calculated by the interior, what's enclosed by the interior walls, and how the tax assessors assess the building itself. Right now, the building is assessed in commercial space, and if there's parking underneath the building, that's taxed separately at a different rate. So the town's already doing this already with the tax rate. So yes, we had a discussion about that. That's part of nature. Like if you look at the Supreme Court, when they look at courts, it's not they don't all unanimously decide on something. It's always whatever, and whatever decision you have, we'll live with it. If we want to change it, we can do that too. But we're following what we believe is right. And that's I'll leave it at that. And then as far as other things like lights, that's a very good point. I believe they have to follow dark sky rules that we have. And I'm assuming that last time we met with them, they said that the lights are on motion sensors, and it's activated. If we need to address, does it stay on for hours or is it on for 15 minutes? I'm sure it's going to be reasonable, and we'll work that out.
We have a lot of squirrels running on those fences.
And as far as trash, they've already, I think they are comfortable with saying they'll haul as much trash out as they can if there needs to be three visits a week or so forth. So that's fine. And as far as moving, I'm sure they're going to make exceptions for moving and saying there's going to be a lot of moving. The trash room is filling up. Come take another load away. I'm not worried about that. And then relating snow removal to about by the law, they're allowed, I think, 8 hours after the snow stops on a commercial space to shovel. Call them up for that. It's not part of the process here. They made allowances for that, and they had snow removal service, as they explained before, that they will remove the snow. They're not piling it anywhere. They know it's not to be piled in the summer. Okay. What else?
Height on roof.
Yes. Can you flip to the building there? It's on the submittal, and it shows what the height of the building is.
I couldn't get it, that's all.
Oh.
It's on A10.
On who?
I don't know exactly. I have to look at the drawings. That's why.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to know, like, it's literally what I look at my
Right there.
bedroom window, so I just want to know how high that's going to be.
It's 48 feet, Mr. Chair.
Including all the stuff?
Penthouse and things.
That's 48 feet to the roof plate. It doesn't include the solar panels or the elevator head house.
That's what I want to know.
Then we add perhaps 3 more feet median, between the solar panels and the roof, the head house.
I would
roof.
say about 3 feet above that.
So 51 feet then?
51 feet.
Yeah, you're not going to see the solar panels or the elevator penthouse. It's not from your angle. Okay.
On the third floor. You can come over and see.
Is that an invitation?
I got a good look at this building out of my bedroom window, believe
okay.
me.
All right, I'm going to return the discussions back to the board here. So, how do we leave this? I think the biggest thing right now is deciding, do we want them to come back with another floor plan showing clarifications and some changes, or we want to do it as an administrative approval where they can submit something in, and if it meets those criteria that we specified, then that's fine.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, before,
Sure.
the outdoor parking spaces were included in the number. So we believe in taking that number out. You've got a lot more commercial space percentage-wise to work with here. But as a condition, we're happy to provide that exact calculation breakdown for the board.
And if I may?
Yes?
I did a quick and dirty calculation while we sat here. It will not be exact. It's close enough to make me comfortable that that once you remove the parking spaces and also remove the exercise room from the commercial space, they have approximately 80% of the ground floor as commercial space, approximately, with I believe 600 plus square feet wiggle room to stay above that 60% threshold. 600 plus square feet wiggle room. So that makes me comfortable that they could do the calculation as a condition and submit it back to us. That makes me comfortable to vote tonight on that particular element. Now we can discuss anything, any other elements, but there's enough wiggle room there that I feel comfortable with that.
Vince?
Yeah, I agree. If we can find a way to move forward without bringing them back before the full board just for this, I would appreciate that. I think rather than going by our back of the envelope calculations, we'd just like to get the revised calculation and a clear diagram showing how it was done.
Steve?
Yeah, I agree. The other area of discussion was parking, and I would be comfortable with, leaving that to administrative approval. The request that, the 5 parallel parking spaces be compact and up to 1 more be compact under the podium and the rest full size. But if, that weren't possible, I would like to see them return.
I think one other thing that we had talked about was that if the utility does not approve the transformer location as indicated in the plans, we'd like them to resubmit. We'd like to see them back with the transformer location as designated by the utility.
Mr. Chair, those are also agreeable to us as well.
Let me get all the board members,
yes, sorry.
then I'll get back
I
to you, okay?
apologize.
Rachel, what's your feeling on this?
I have one question before I answer. Did the board weigh in on, I know that we've looked at corner lots like this as to what is the front, what is the rear yard and what is the side yard. Did you review that to also identify, I noticed that there wasn't any landscape buffer between, on this lot? And again, I know I don't recall hearing that from the first, and I'm just going through my final notes here.
Steve, you want to answer that? We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, so in the bylaw, the landscape buffer is required for single and two-family and three-family. And for parking lots with more than 5 spaces, there's a fence requirement, and they're providing fences.
The fence instead.
We did talk about that. So.
Okay, thank you. I missed that. I do not feel comfortable voting tonight. I think that between the request to have the applicant go back and come back to us with a proposal that is approvable on the location of the compact spaces and whether or not they can accommodate that and still make the 12 spaces work, as well as, you know, we typically require actual calculations to approve projects, not, I think it fits, and I think that there is clearly significant confusion on the part of the applicant as to what constitutes commercial space and what doesn't, and I would like to see that on paper.
Thank you. I will concur with the rest of the board and say I will be okay with administrative approval for this. But let me go down the list and make sure before someone makes a motion, okay? One was, the biggest one is if the transformer vote, underground transformer vote, does not meet the requirements of the utility company, and it has to be located somewhere on the property, that you guys would come back for a full board meeting with the location of where that's supposed to go.
Can I make an addition to
Sure.
that? That does not include removing a parking space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would, thank you. That does not include deleting a parking space. You also will submit a materials board showing the blue tile for administrative approval at the entries. With the boards you already submitted, so we have something to compare it with. You know, just don't give me the glazed brick. I want it with the rest of the stuff there. And then you said you can come up with a detail for me at the cornice, how you're going to treat that, if you don't mind. I'm okay with a hand sketch. You don't need to do a full CD or the thing, okay? A new floor plan showing the exercise room is part of the commercial space, deleting the wall.
Not part of the commercial space. Exercise room is not part of the commercial
I
space.
thought they said it was part of the commercial.
No, it is, they need to come back and show that it is not part of the commercial space.
You're going to show me it's either or, it is part of it or not part of it, okay?
It is not.
Okay.
Not either. That's the special condition we have to include.
Either there is no exercise room and that space becomes part of the commercial space.
Correct.
Or it is excluded from the commercial space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
utility room is also excluded from the commercial space is only,
Clarification of what's commercial space and what's part of the housing, okay?
No, we understand completely.
And then also about shifting the egress door to the alcove there to make it safer. The clarification, also reassessing the parking spaces so that we don't lose a parking space, that the compact spaces are along parallel, and you can fit in the best you can, all full-size parking spaces underneath the building, if possible. Is something wrong?
Can I make that more specific
Sure.
for the special condition? A revised parking plan showing no more than 6 compact parking spaces and maintaining a total quantity of 12.
And a 20-foot long parallel parking space is acceptable to the board as a compact parking space.
That will have to do as a finding, and I have a whole list of findings.
Okay.
Can I add another special condition before we get to findings?
Sure.
That no venting or exhaust penetrations be visible on the vertical surfaces of the exterior of the building. All needs to go through the roof.
I had one more to raise as a question. Steve had mentioned a contribution to the tree fund.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
We'll need to do that as a finding, too.
it's a finding, okay.
But we should identify what that is.
Mr. Chair, we're moving the handicap space as well.
Yes, you reallocate it so it's a
Yes.
full-size space.
Yes.
But I'm assuming once that becomes a full-size space, you just keep it there.
Yes.
So I was going to leave it alone. It sort of killed itself. Vince, do you have anything else to add to that?
I have a question.
Sure.
Because I think we need to set a precedent of how many charging stations for electric bicycles is the right number of charging stations, and I'm just curious if these charge 1 bicycle each or 2 bicycles each. Do you have an idea?
We have 1 bicycle each, so 2 charging stations.
You have shown on the plan 1 bicycle at each station, and the reason I ask is that I think, for 40 parking spaces, something like a 10% ratio. This is not written in our bylaw. We're just trying to figure out what would be acceptable to the board as charging stations. To me, it's something like maybe 10%, which would be 4 charging stations. If each of those, and it looks like there's room to put 2 bicycles or scooters, if each of those could charge 2 vehicles at a time, that would be acceptable to me. And the only reason I bring it up is that in the future, we're going to need to have a sort of a precedent to guide us in determining how many is enough.
Steve, isn't typically each charger has 2 pigtails that come out, charge two bikes at a time?
So there's, if you had an adapter and were, or a DC adapter that you plugged in, different I'm not familiar with all the different models. In the past, we've also approved just installing, a series of outlets along where the bicycles are stored, so they could just be, plugged in from, where they sat on the rack. We've also done that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose to make it short, the condition would be the ability to charge 4 bicycles if that is acceptable to my colleagues on the board.
I find that hard to do right now just because it's not part of our regulations. We're just adding things on. I don't like to add things on just because we feel like it's missing something. If we want to change it, let's change it. But if we're gonna make requirements just because it's not on the thing, it's not a clarification. It's a change. You're requesting more. So I feel uncomfortable with that.
Well, I don't. Sorry, Mr. Revout, 1 second. So I don't think I'm requesting more in the sense that I'm not requesting any changes to the plan. I think that they have plenty of room to do what I'm describing. The way our TDM plan is written, it's very high level. It does not specify exactly how many of this and exactly how much of that. It's up to us as a board to kind of set a reasonable threshold. And I thought this might be an opportunity where we could set a precedent for what's a reasonable threshold for charging stations.
That's what I'm trying to say. You don't set expectations on projects and say going forward. You just don't do that. If you want to change that, let's change the rules and regulations, but you don't change it and say, okay, here's a new exception because we made it okay for this project here. That's not how we do things in town. I'd rather, if you want to make you feel comfortable, encourage them to have more, but not a requirement. I'm okay with you saying that, but you can't make it a finding or anything else like that because they have nothing to base it on. Except, we can change it later, but I'm not gonna, I can't support what you're trying to do here.
So, Mr. Chair, to maybe make it easier on the board, instead of setting a precedent, the applicant will voluntarily put something in to allow at least 4 to be charging, 4 bike stations to be charging, whether that's the additional charging or the outlets on the wall as well.
Which is fine. I think that what you're saying is great, and I appreciate that, but I do not want this board to saying that's how we're going to make rules and regulations by imposing it on projects. We can't do that. That's all I'm saying, Vince, okay?
Just as a counterexample, another one of our TDM measures is providing additional bicycle parking above and beyond the requirements of the bylaw. But if they were to provide just one more bicycle parking space, would we accept that? I think not. We would find that insufficient as an additional TDM measure. So there's some threshold, which is not written in our bylaw, but that we need to develop as to what we would find acceptable. And this is the only way, short of rewriting our zoning bylaw, that we're going to develop those standards.
Well, I gave you my opinion. I'm going to see what the rest of the board says. Rachel?
I agree with you, Ken.
Shannon?
I think that the flexibility is useful in the sense that one more space might not to go with the bike parking spaces, for example, right? One more space would not be acceptable here, right? But in a 3-unit building, right, one extra space would be appropriate. And when you get down to a project that small, percentages get to be not so useful. So I see what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it. And I actually think that finding a way to standardize things, like in the TDM plan, would be useful, but not necessarily through these means. So let's continue to think about means and methods, though.
Steve?
I agree that it would be nice to have more quantitative requirements, but I think perhaps having a discussion about that outside of the context of a site plan review or special permit hearing, where it's just we talk about it and figure out what we want to do, if anything, and rather than trying to do it within the context of permitting a specific project.
Thank you. Are you okay with that, Vince?
Yeah, I don't see enough support, so I'll withdraw that proposal.
Okay. Are there any additional comments, Steve?
Well, conditions?
Yes.
I'm
going to go findings afterwards, but
yes. So the TDM measures, with respect to, the charging stations are on the plans, but I think it would be worth having conditions that, parking be unbundled from rent, and that transit pass subsidies be provided to each unit, was it?
Each unit that does not have a parking space on site.
Yeah, so transit passes shall be provided to each unit that does not have a parking space on site.
okay.
Yep.
Richie, you have anything else?
No, I just had a list of findings.
Okay, you want to start with the findings?
Sure. So the board would need to make the following findings. A finding that in lieu of the required street tree in section 6.3.4E, that the applicant make a financial contribution to the tree fund. A finding under 6.1.10, a 2, that the second driveway is approved. A finding that the board approves up to 50% of parking as compact spaces. A finding that the board finds the TDM measures as proposed are acceptable. And I think that was everything that I had as a finding.
Shane, did you have one additional finding that you were talking about?
It was the street tree.
Okay. Vince?
Nothing additional.
Steve?
No additional findings.
Mr. Chair, I think we need a solar finding as well, if I'm not mistaken,
A solar finding?
for the panels on the roof, the percentage.
Was that brought up?
You have a lot more. You had a lot more panels this time than last time.
We've added the panels in, but we're still just shy of 50% with the 3-foot perimeter that's added on the roof for access.
Okay, I did not know that. I thought when we talked last time, there was a discrepancy on your plans and the solar plans, where you guys showed less. You had 3 quadrants of showing solar panels, and then the solar Smittle had it on all 4 corners of the building. You're still saying there is a
I think we're off by 4%.
4%?
Yes, full disclosure, I think it was, quite frankly, the same number as prior development on Broadway that was just approved and showing the same issues as the 3-foot perimeter, as well as needing space for venting on the roof in addition to the elevator house.
How does the board feel about that? We have not discussed that at all.
Well, in terms of, the solar condition is 50% of the roof, but it seems, given that code requires that 3-foot barrier or that 3-foot strip around where you can't put them, it seems, it doesn't seem appropriate to consider that in the denominator. One of the things that we proposed to the project at 259 Broadway was either, you have height above that, so you could, either consider putting something on top of the elevator head house or a trellis-like structure over some of the mechanicals. But there are ways, I think you could get there.
Okay. Yes, we will have as a condition, have our solar design consultant look at any additional space on the roof where we can put panels.
I'm personally okay with you being 4% shy, because I'm cognizant of your neighbors not seeing solar panels.
Excellent.
And
night lights in the parking area.
The 4%'s okay, being a little shy, but what about the rest? Vince, how do you feel?
I think I can be okay with it. It wouldn't surprise me if you could get the extra 4% with a few panels here and there, but I understand that that's probably not the most efficient way to set up a solar array.
Well, right now, we're also asking them another undue burden, is that all mechanical shafts have to go through the roof, not through the sidewalls. And that is taking up more space. That's not shown on the floor plans on the roof plan right now. All the venting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Shannon?
I'm okay with the 46%.
Rachel?
What is the point of our bylaws? We have just waived a significant number where we have identified specific exemptions that are required for our applicants to meet and calculations that are required for us to approve items. And we are not holding them to any of them. So I am not okay with it because and I think that we have too many conditions attached to this for us to be able to approve this. They have not shown us that they meet the exemptions in section 6.4.2, so they need to meet 50%, just like they need to meet all of these other requirements that we are allowing them just to handle administratively. and we don't have the best track record with administrative approval. So that is what I would like to say for the record.
That's fine. Okay. Steve?
So there is, I would suggest that the applicants calculate the area covered by solar, excluding the 3-foot buffer around the building. And if you meet 50% of that, this would be subject to administrative approval. If you meet 50% of that, then you're fine. Otherwise, you'll have to find a little bit of room to, get to 50%. Elevator head house above the mechanicals, et cetera.
Understood. I think with that, excluding the 3-foot perimeter, I think we will get to 50% anyway, so that's agreeable.
Do we have to, are we clear on what we have here that we're voting on, or? Okay. Do I have a motion?
So, Mr. Chair, I will move approval of docket 3891, 126 to 128 Broadway, with the conditions and findings as specified earlier.
As noted, you mean?
As noted, yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Steve?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Rachel?
No.
I'm a yes. So we got a 4-to-1 vote for approval. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please coordinate all your submittals with Claire later on, as far as that's concerned.
Yes, we will do that. Thank you.
To be clear, because I know we need it for the final special permit approval, the reason my no vote, they need to know why, is because the application does not meet the requirements of the bylaw, and the administrative approval has been overused in this case.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is to review the vote, the board report to town meeting. Has the board have a chance to review the report, and does anyone have any edits? Starting with Steve.
So I did have, I did suggest 3 edits, which I sent to the chair and to staff, and it sounds like they've been incorporated.
Yep. Well, at least I've seen it.
Okay. I can
You got it?
simply read them off. Oh, okay. Shall I read them up? Or would you like to go article by article, Mr. Chair?
Just one second, Steve.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Steve.
So what we did was we took the comments that we received from Mr. Revelak, Ms. Zemberry, and Ms. Gorman-Houston, and included them in a draft document that I'm showing right now on the screen. Steve, Mr. Revelak, I think if you'd like to read that out, we can go through the document and we can look and verify that those changes were made, or if there's another method the board prefers, we can do that as well.
Can we just swing that screen over this way here so we can just take a look at it? And you made 3 comments. I think yours are more like one little thing.
They're little things, yeah.
Yeah, so if we just show what they did there and you're okay with it, we'll move on. I'm sorry I didn't get to read yours or Rachel's. I read everybody else's. Did you submit?
I did. I had quite a few.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to read yours.
Okay.
Okay, so starting first is Article 40.
Okay.
And so in the second paragraph of the discussion, the next to last sentence ends with the clause, while certified mail costs approximately $5.30 per piece of mail. I suggested adding a comma and the words, in addition to postage and other fees, which is how the post office phrases it. So the $5.30 is in addition to what you would normally pay for postage. The second was in Article 47. So in the last sentence of the discussion, the last line ends, greater flexibility over the height of proposed buildings or additions, including as part of resiliency measures. I had suggested changing including as part of resiliency measures to including resiliency measures such as elevating a building above the base flood elevation.
All right.
Yep, that looks right. And for Article 53, in the first paragraph, so 3 lines up from the bottom of the first paragraph, there's the sentence, the majority of the board has interpreted the meaning of ground floor at street level as the enclosed ground floor space and not the total building area. I had suggest changing building area to building footprint, just because we're just having, there's much ado about the word area. So I tried to pick a term that was not in dispute, but easy to visualize. But I
talked to you about that earlier. I like to leave era in. That's how the proponent submitted it in as.
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
They're talking about that, and it actually clearly states that in the state code. It's building. They define it as building area, and they don't say anything about footprint.
Okay, and then I withdraw my suggestion for Article 53.
All right.
Vince, do you have any suggestions or corrections?
A handful, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and sorry for not having sent these in earlier. So in Article 38, an extremely minor typo in the warrant article language. It says inserted at the request of the Affordable Housing Overlay District Committee, and there's an extra parenthesis at the end of that sentence, phrase. Scroll up just a bit.
Yes.
After committee,
Oh,
there's
yes.
an extra parenthesis.
I thought that was a smiley face.
Perhaps. Article 39, in 5.9.2b, down in the actual draft amendment, in subparagraph E, there is a comma after special permit granting authority that should be stricken along with the text following. Again, that's very minor typo. Moving on.
Get rid of that little dash too. I think it's
Get rid of the dash?
authorities finding. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to slightly more substantive comments on Article 42. In the discussion, I would suggest or ask if we could strike the sentence, a member of the board noted that a typical fire lane requirement is 20 feet and found the reduction to be reasonable. I made that comment, but I don't think the typical fire lane requirement is particularly relevant. And so I would just suggest we could strike that. We're already striking and found the reduction to be reasonable.
Does the board agree?
Objections?
I have no objections to that.
No?
No.
I think it's only relevant in a future warrant article that would be proposing to reduce it to 20 feet or below 20 feet for context. Moving on to Article 49. The sign language, unless someone else already commented on this, but the way that the sign language is written, it's still referencing section 6.2.1.E9. for the sign standards. But it seems like we've deleted the proposed addition of a section 6.2.1 E9, so
49?
49, yeah,
Okay, sorry.
In the actual language of
Oh,
the
the
draft
actual
amendment.
amendment language.
Oh, this sign.
No, further up.
Further down, I believe.
Up, isn't it, or down?
It's to do with signage.
Oh, sorry.
No feature or customer, there should be no display of all buildings. Down further, maybe?
So this is 591B4?
If you have a page,
591B4, yes. One sign is permitted per home occupation, et cetera.
So it's 5.9.1B4, exactly, and it says pursuant to section 6.2.1 E9. That was a section that the proponents had proposed to add, but that we do not include. If you look further in the proposed amendment language where it says amend section 6.2.1, and there is no amendment to that section. So right now, we're referencing a section to do with notices, which has nothing to do with this. So I think there was some confusion as to what the board had wanted to do with respect to signage.
Wasn't your
Which was,
change?
no, we did not take, I withdrew that
Oh.
request to change it, and it was as the proponents had submitted.
So as they had submitted, in that case, if we want to go back to that, we were adding a section 6.2.1
Correct.
E, paragraph 9, which said non-illuminated signs which advertise a home occupation, provided the sign does not exceed 2 square feet in sign area. And so that goes below under the amendment language for 6.2.1.
So you'd have to scroll down and add that
Where would that go? I'm sorry.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, 6.2.1 E, which we're not showing there, but
Yeah.
there's a,
We just need to, from their prior submission, so from the package that we reviewed last week, which seems like a month ago, we just need to copy back in, that was a good catch, Vince, I missed that one, that section that they had proposed.
Okay. So.
I can email, let me
yeah,
send you
that
an
would-
email on this,
That would be the
Claire.
best.
Anything else?
Way to handle it.
Anything else, Vince?
2 or 3 more. So Article 52, rezoning of certain parcels. In the discussion, the second paragraph, the third sentence of the second paragraph starts out the Department of Planning and Community Development, and it also ends as confirmed by the Department of Planning and Community Development. It's basically repeating the same thing twice. So there's a redundant clause. And in the following sentence, it starts the sentence he, but it's not clear who he is referring to. I believe he's Steve McKenna, or the proponent, but it needs to be made clear. Oh, that maybe has already been.
Yes.
My apologies, that one's already been made. Moving on to Article 53. Almost done. And this is a question. So in the discussion, second page, I believe, in the third paragraph, there's a discussion of saying that this would have to go back to for state review because it's changing our MBTA communities bylaw. And I had made that assertion, but I'm not sure that it's relevant because this is a bonus provision. And so we can leave that in, we could take it out. It's true that all our bylaws are reviewed by the state. It says would be subject to review for compliance with Section 3A of the Mass MGL Chapter 48. I'm just not sure that's relevant because it is a bonus provision. So I would suggest we take that sentence out, but
I just leave it in.
it's fine to leave it in.
It doesn't hurt anything.
It doesn't hurt anything.
The A's need to be capitalized, though. 3A and 40A.
There we go. And one last one for me. Article 55. In the discussion,
We'll ask council for that one.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
In the second paragraph here where it says some board members expressed concern. Okay, no, it's the stricken sentence. I was uncomfortable with that. I'm happy we're taking it out. That's it for me.
Thank you. Shannon?
Okay, thanks. So first of all, Claire, Sarah, the rest of the department, thank you so much. This is great work. Much of what I have is minor clarification, administrative. In introduction overview, the final sentence, board may hold property. I think that should be plural.
Yep.
And in Article 39, I had two things. First paragraph, the sentence reading, last year the Attorney General's municipal law, as written, Arlington zoning bylaw currently requires, I suggest striking currently, it's unnecessary, and then continuing on down where it says such as a, for example, such as a non-conforming garage, I would suggest adding such as a pre-existing non-conforming garage to clarify that further. In Article 40, sort of in the same vein as what Steve was looking at, the second paragraph of the discussion where it's saying the cost of certified mail is approximately $5.30 per piece. I added language around what first-class mail costs as comparison. So I added to the end of that sentence, while first-class mail costs 61 cents for a postcard and 78 cents for a traditional letter.
Ms. Corbin Houston.
Yes, is that incorrect?
No, that is correct. I'm wondering, since I think there's maybe an assumption that notices would be out in letters, how would you feel about striking the postcard?
Yeah, absolutely.
So strike out 61% for a postcard.
Yep.
And?
Yes, absolutely. I think just the notion of magnitude was what I was going for. In Article 45, the discussion, the second sentence of the first paragraph, this is really tiny wordsmithing. The second sentence reads, currently the zoning bylaw does not limit the number of portable or temporary signs a business can use, comma, so long as, I think that should be as long as, and then further down in, I think it's the third paragraph, I believe, the paragraph that begins Article 45. The sentence, this reduction is intended to encourage business owners to move forward with permanent signage in a more timely manner. I would strike more. I think it's redundant. Article 46, the first paragraph of discussion, there's a place where I suggest swapping by in lieu of for. Tiny grammatical suggestion. Article 47, Steve, I want you to weigh in on intent here, on whether my addition actually meets the intent. So the second sentence of discussion, at the end of that sentence, it currently reads, for people who own homes in the floodplain district to elevate their buildings. It would also, I believe, allow new buildings, right, to also start at a higher level. And so I thought we needed to somehow recognize the new developments as well. I would propose and new developments to design for appropriate flood management standards. I'd ask whether the board thinks this achieves the intent or clearly, properly reflects the intent.
Based on, from what I recall of my discussions with ZBA Chair Klein, building code doesn't let you put habitable spaces below a base flood elevation. So you could say for new developments to design for appropriate flood management standards, or simply say for new developments to conform to building codes, I think.
Okay, I think either would be fine.
This is fine the way you've got it, Janet.
Yeah, I think it's fine the way you've got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Vince.
What have I got?
We're at Article 49.
Oh, did I have something in 49?
You had something in 49. It was just a sort of a clarity writing thing.
Oh, yep, there it is. Okay, discussion in the discussion section of Article 49, second paragraph, first sentence, clarifying language. I suggested changing the sentence to read, Article 49 is substantially different from an article proposed for last year's town meeting, which would have allowed for. Article 50, so there was a lot of concern in public comment about whether there was impact on St. Camilla's Church. So I suggest adding the sentence, this amendment does not impact the church itself or the parcel abutting 141 Dow Avenue.
Well, the church is a word that can mean multiple things. Do you want to say the church building itself?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And that should be blue
And
marked
then
as a change.
the word church, I think, becomes lowercase in that scenario.
I think the intent is that this amendment does not impact the underlying zoning for the church building itself, right? Because one could argue that changing the zoning for the parcel next to it will have future, I don't want to say something that's not true. And so what you're trying to say is that we are not changing the underlying zoning for the church, correct?
Well, no, they are subdividing the parcels so that the physical church building is the lot that they are, the lot that they're going to propose a project on is not going to include the church building, right?
And I would say
was a lot of
that specifically. The lot that is proposed, the proposed parcel that is being rezoned does not include the structure of the church. or something to that effect.
No, that makes sense. In which case, you could probably strike the parcel abutting 141 Dow Ave.
You would just say this amendment does not rezone the property occupied by the church structure? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
Well, we say doesn't impact the property the church is on.
well, it does impact.
Impact is vague, I
It
suppose.
does impact.
Rezone.
That's the
Okay,
problem.
rezone then.
Yep.
Okay, so this amendment does not
Rezone
rezone
the property the church is on. And take the word building out.
And church gets recapitalized again. Because we're
right is
referring to a specific.
on.
No, you don't need the building at all, just the property
get
that
rid of
church is.
building.
Yeah.
And itself. Okay.
I think someone else made the comment about the proponent further down in that section.
And you had, this is a racial edit, but it just says that this change would provide more flexibility to property owners and eliminate non-conforming uses on some parcels, rather than a small number of
Yep.
parcels. Okay.
And then 56, I withdraw my first comment in 56, and then, but then in the final sentence of 56, I suggest revising it, let's see, adding to the final sentence, so that it, let's see, adding to the final sentence, so that it could have broader applicability. And then striking one member noted, so while the board was sympathetic to the intent of the article, several board members were in agreement that it would be better to include this type of language elsewhere in the zoning bylaw, not just in the multifamily housing overlay district, and then add so that it could have broader applicability. Strike the following sentence and then add, one member noted it could be appropriate to include other populations such as 100% age-restricted projects. Several members encouraged the proponent to propose a broader article in the future. And that was it.
How does the board feel about this
Oh,
additional?
We haven't gotten to ratios yet.
Nope.
Yep.
Still on Shayna's.
We
Yeah,
haven't,
so how,
but I do
so
wanna have
that is a more substantial change, so,
Right.
so how do people feel about that? And I was the one who noted the age-restricted projects, but those last two sentences I recognize are maybe going beyond the scope that we want to
article is
discuss
this?
here.
We are on Article 56, which is about off-street parking and bicycle parking. This was related to the MS Court project, suggested by members of the HCA mostly.
Can I make a
Yep.
proposal? I don't disagree at all with the suggestion you made to them. I think it goes pretty far outside the scope of what we're actually referring to in this. I think it was a great suggestion to them, but I would actually take out the second to last sentence that you added and keep the last one. And I think we were all in agreement that we encouraged the proponent to propose a broader article in the future. And so perhaps what I tried to do is remove one of and several where we were all in agreement. And so if the board agrees, I would just say the board encouraged the proponent to consider proposing a broader article in the future.
Yep,
Yep.
Yep.
sounds good.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
Is that it, Shannon?
And I think Rachel just, yeah, there you go.
And then
Yes,
Claire,
that
it
was
was to consider proposing a broader article rather than to propose.
So yes, that was it.
Right.
Rachel?
Okay, I'll go quickly through mine. Okay, so in the introduction section on page 2,
Where are we? Sorry.
go back up. My name is spelled incorrectly.
No.
Nope, I changed it.
We
You got
fixed
it. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Page 3, I just added yes, that page.
You added something here? Page 3.
The zoning bylaws of the town of Arlington, comma, Massachusetts is the official name in the bylaws, so you're just missing Massachusetts
All
there.
right. Okay.
Okay, Article 42. So, for articles in which we did not have a discussion where we were not in alignment, I took out one member, and just indicated the board, or tried to make it more, town meeting doesn't care that one member said this, they care what the board thinks. So I tried to simplify things. So I took out in this one, a member of the board noted that A, and then instead included for reference, well, actually, we took out the fire lane thing. So this one you already deleted.
We took it out.
But it's that is the spirit by which I've made
Okay.
quite a few of my edits. So Article 45 was the next one. So instead of, let me get to that one.
Floodplain district.
Nothing here. Here we go. One member of the board spoke about, I just indicated the board discussed. In the same vein, one member pointed out, it was noted. And I took out, ultimately, they don't need to know how long we debated, but it was agreed. Those are the changes I made for this one. And then in the end, where we had a discussion, but then ultimately we decided not to go forward with it, much like where I had questioned the efficacy of the signage provision in home occupations. You know, Vince had brought up the number of days, and ultimately we decided that was not something that we decided to go down. I decided to propose to take that out. That's not something we necessarily need to highlight as part of our town meeting report, just what we decided upon.
Yeah.
Okay,
46.
46 is the next one. And so this was similar. So instead of the sentence that was in here regarding concern, I changed the way that we described what the former article included. It sounded clunky to me, so I think that, I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. This is boarding, yes. This sounded, the concern wasn't well positioned here, so I just identified that we during the board discussion, we highlighted provisions such as the requirement for a special permit to ensure that the use would not permit overnight boarding rather than giving a whole bunch of extra context that wasn't really necessary. And then I also, because I deleted the previous section, I could delete, but it was clarified what the type of use was. So it just simplified the report. Okay. That was not mine.
Article 49.
Article 49, I think, was the next one. Okay, so this one, instead of one member, it was noted. Again, instead of one board member, the board felt that this article would protect the quiet enjoyment that people expect from residential districts. Those are the only changes I made here. Article 52. Similarly, instead of one board member commented, the board recognized that this change would provide more flexibility to property owners. And that was it for that one. 53, change the word get to receive. This is in the section around my dissent for this particular article. Article 55. I think we already did we discuss this one? No. I just simplified the discussion here. I don't think that the discussion that we went through, I brought up the intent of the at least language. That had nothing really to do with this article. That wasn't what he was proposing. It was a different way to round. And the at least language was part of the board discussion, but was not really relevant to the article given what he proposed. So I just decided we should strike it because it will just confuse people at town meeting.
Okay.
And again, some board members indicated openness to adjusting the required percentage. Again, the article wasn't about percentages, it was just about changing the rounding
I'm
provision.
not sure we did indicate openness. That was a comment of mine too. I think we said something to the effect of if the town wanted to do that,
right.
not the board suggests doing that.
Agreed, yeah. Okay. Article 56. Again, board members thought it would be better to include this type of language elsewhere in the zoning bylaw. Again, we, rather than just in the multifamily overlay districts, again, just trying to simplify the language here. 57, we already discussed the last item, and again, this is just changing from one member to the board discussed. It may be more appropriate to propose this bonus as a future affordable housing overlay district. I think we were in agreement there. To provide flexibility for 100% affordable developments more broadly in the future, just to help provide context as to why we think that this is not the place, but it should live elsewhere. That was it.
That's what I have for you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Nope.
No, you good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Then we will make these changes. We are also recording the meetings so that changes will be able to make the changes quickly, you know, as soon as tomorrow, or certainly by, you know, Wednesday. The reports are due to the Select Board's office on the 13th, but we will make these edits and I guess we'll go from there.
Mr. Chair, do you need a motion?
I think we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, please.
So I move that the board approve the report to town meeting as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Rachel?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
I'm a yes, too. Oops, okay.
There's one item that I'm sorry, I added it to your agenda there, Ken, and this does not require a vote by any means. I just want to verify what we'd like to put, or what the board wishes to put on, or propose to be put on the consent agenda. And what I have right now is Article 39, administrative clarification to ADUs, Article 40, zoning map change requirements, Article 41, administrative correction to multifamily housing overlay districts. Those are we all indicated, you all indicated that those indeed should go on the consent agenda. Anything that the board voted no action on is going to be recommended for the consent agenda. I'm interested in potentially Article 38, which is extend the charge of the Affordable Housing Overlay Committee to be suggested for the consent agenda, and also potentially Articles 47, definition of building height, and Article 48, residential parking, which adds the parking requirement to the multifamily overlay district. So Article 38, Article 47, and Article 48, not sure how the board feels about making that recommendation.
Steve?
So going back, so for 38,
Yes.
I would be comfortable with the, I would be comfortable with that being on the consent agenda. Likewise for 39. For 40, 40 might be a bit too much of a policy change for the consent agenda.
Okay.
So 41 can definitely go on the consent agenda. And what were the other ones?
The other two that we were considering in the office today, staff was looking at, was the definition of building height and the residential parking. The residential parking is to add the multifamily overlays to our residential parking requirements.
I'd be comfortable with those. And anywhere, and as well as any articles where we had a recommendation of no action.
Vince?
I think I agree with Steve. We could take out 40. All the others, it's worth a try. I think the building height one might get pulled off the consent agenda, but who knows?
Great.
Shannon?
Yes, I agree. I think 47 is likely to get pulled off, but worth a try.
Okay.
Rachel?
Load it up.
Hmm?
Load it up. As many as we can get on the consent agenda, I am
Okay.
in favor of.
Okay.
We were also talking this Friday with the moderator. I'm going to try again what you did earlier, Rachel, is see if we can put an objection so that it takes more than one person to take something off the consent agenda. What do you think the board think is a good number to insert in there?
We actually
less
gave
than
that to
10.
him. The board had discussed that previously, and I sent that to him. I can pull up my email right now if you give me just a minute.
Actually, can you forward that email to me?
Yep.
I want to make sure we covered the same thing that you covered, because I'm definitely going to push for that.
How many town meeting members are there now?
252.
That's what I thought. How about 5%? I think 5%.
We had
No,
a
it's not.
we had a number.
It was a number. I think it was like 12 or 20.
No, but it was based. Hold on.
Well, that is roughly 5%.
Oh,
13
Okay.
would be 5%.
This is just a reaction because it's my first time hearing it, but I sometimes I think it's better to just let the crazy people make themselves. I shouldn't talk like that, but the raising the bar for discussion would only make certain people feel like they weren't getting a chance to debate issues, and town meeting is a forum for people to, feel heard. So I'm not sure. And plus, this board, I would just defer to the town meeting procedures committee on that. I wouldn't
So this
feel
was,
comfortable making a recommendation.
this was a recommendation for the Town Meeting Procedures Committee as to what,
Sure.
I just want to give you context as to what the redevelopment board thought the moderator and the Procedures Committee could do to make town meeting more efficient and considerate of both the board members as well as town meeting members' time. So we recommended, after a board discussion, 2.5% or a similar meaningful threshold as part of our recommendations to pull an item from the consent agenda. And I'll forward that to you, Ken.
5% is what, 10 people?
About 13.
13?
It was 2.5 was our recommendation.
Oh, 2.5%.
6 people.
2.5% was our recommendation that we gave him back in November after our
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. Steve, you're going to be there, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there Friday, yes.
It's a Zoom, right?
Because I
Yeah.
think, and I think the thinking was all of the zoning articles, including things like administrative changes, were being pulled from the consent agenda because they were zoning articles. You know, even when it was things like Article 41, right, where it's simply taking out language that is no longer necessary.
Yeah, it's, town meeting members can pull stuff from the consent agenda, yes. It can make the process go longer, but, they do have the right to do that. I'm personally inclined to leave this up to the moderator and the town meeting procedures committee.
Well, I mean, it is up to them. We just made a recommendation.
Okay,
Okay.
fair enough. Is that good enough for you?
Yes, we will also be discussing vote quanta for each of these articles as well
Okay.
at that call.
Do you know if any substitute motions have been put in yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. That's it for you?
That's all for me, thank you.
I'm going to go on to next, open agenda. Seeing no one wishes to speak, since there's no one here, I will close open forum. On to new business. Does anyone have new business? Claire?
Yes, I have, well, it's not exactly new any longer, but the comment period is still ongoing for the draft comprehensive plan document. And I do encourage the board to download the latest draft and review, please. That document, comments may be submitted through the website, through the comment form, and I believe that there is an opportunity to offer, substantive comments, should you desire. But that deadline is coming up relatively quickly, and I would greatly appreciate, any comments that the board would like to make before we move this thing more towards final draft and final board review and approval.
Will that be happening before town meeting?
Right now, I have it tentatively scheduled for your May 4th meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Steve?
No new business this
Vince?
week.
Just a quick question on Broadway, Claire, and I apologize. Do we have a consultant selected, correct?
Correct.
And
The successful respondent to the RFP is VHB. We have to go through Mass DOT, MassDOT's contracting process for them to release the funds for us to, contract at the town level with VHB. VHB has now submitted all the required documents to Mass DOT for their review. The contracting with MassDOT is a very lengthy process, but I've been assured as recently as last week that they have everything they need and that we should, be hearing shortly about when we can move forward with contracting with VHB. I expect that once we get the go-ahead from MassDOT, it will not take very long for us to finalize details with VHB. I'd like to have this project kicked off as soon as possible, as early as June or July, if we could.
Thank you so much.
Shanna?
Nothing.
Rachel?
Nothing.
I am nothing too. Close new business, and do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Steve?
Yes.
Vincent?
Yes?
Shayna?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. Thank you for tonight's meeting.